Well, Bill, we appreciate you being here today. Team Zeigler, this is sales training for the company, and we're spending some time today with Bill Barkley, and really appreciate you taking time to talk to our team, and looking forward to learning from all of your accomplishments.
Well, thanks for having me.
We just want to start off and introduce yourself, and also talk a little bit about your disability, kind of where you've worked, and some of your top adventures you've had.
Sure. Bill Barkley. Right now I'm basically a deaf-blind adventurer and storyteller. Prior to that, I had a 25-year career with Steelcase. My background has largely been in the sales and marketing realm, working with the Steelcase brand and then a number of the premium brands in terms of the sales force as well as training and development.
Wonderful. What were your challenges in the corporate world with your limitations, and then how did you overcome that adversity?
Well, first, I guess a little bit about the physical challenge piece is I have Usher syndrome. So I'm one of 15,000 people in the U.S. and 100,000 people in the world with a dual sensory disorder. The first starts out with hearing loss. So I lost 85% of my hearing in the low tones before the age of 5, 100% in the high tones. And then as I got to about age 27, had a series of car accidents, ironically enough, all at sunset. And then found out after about a year and 3 car crashes later that I was going blind.
Wow.
And so Usher syndrome is basically a disorder that over the decades of your life continually results in the decline of both your hearing and vision, resulting in deafblindness. So as it relates to my career, probably the challenges along the way for someone like me is a number of different factors. One would be just the psychological aspect of having a chronic disease that has no treatments or cures and continually having to process through that. Mm-hmm. At the same time as that, you're slowly losing different skills or abilities and then having to find new ways to compensate or rework your processes to get there. So probably one of the biggest ones, for example, is how do you be a Fortune 500 executive director of sales and marketing with 70% travel across the U.S., 35 independent sales reps that work for you, and then you suddenly give up driving.
Right.
So those challenges present themselves quickly, and then you have to start to build systems and adaptations to get there. The good news is I got there, but it's not necessarily an easy path. But those are some of the challenges that I faced. So most of mine have been around independent living, basically trying to maintain independence and then interdependence with others, but then also communication because of the hearing and vision component. Yeah. And then also being able to track and keep track of conversations in groups beyond one individual person with the limited vision that I do have.
Yeah, yeah. So we all have different challenges that we face day to day, but when we look at some of your accomplishments and all the things you've done, it makes our challenges seem not as big. So really neat. How do you plan out, Bill, like your goals and some of your future aspirations, things that you want to do?
Well, I wish I could say I have some grand master plan, but I think a lot of it is you got to stay open, and then you also need to. It's about self-assessment as much as it is about making your path and your way in the world. So by that, what I mean is that at some point you have to realize that you have challenges, that we all have those challenges. But that does not have to define us. And a lot of it comes from society and other people telling you what you can do based on past experiences or stereotypes or things that happen. But there comes a point in your life where you realize that if you've had enough life experiences that, really, it's really you. The biggest challenge for most of us in our lives is ourselves.
Yeah, true.
So if we have an honest assessment of what we're really good at and then what we're not so good at, that really puts you 80-90% ahead of the next guy out there. Mm-hmm. Because we spend so much time trying to be something else or try to aspire to something that's probably not likely because we haven't been grounded in ourselves.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think I'm so special as much as I'm just an extreme version of other people. I'm the same as you, but things are going so fast and so intense for me that I want to live life to its fullest and to its greatest potential. So what I find myself doing is that if an opportunity is out there, I don't want it to go by.
Sure.
So as far as the adventures go, you know, I started with Kilimanjaro in 2007, and it was really about that there were lots of great, cool technologies out there that would help people with hearing and vision loss, and nobody knew about them. Doctors, patients, families, and people all over the world. But I had figured I've been really lucky in my life to get these technology advances that I could hear better, I could keep up. I had wireless Bluetooth technologies to communicate with remote microphones.
Oh, wow.
And then there was night vision technology that I wasn't using it to look at the stars, but if I could see somebody's feet when I'm going up the summit, it would be really cool.
Wow.
So I started out with this goal of not doing a mountain as like, I'm a 45-year-old guy having an identity crisis, and he is deafblind, and you know, we'll see if this guy makes it. I mean, he's lost the marbles.
Wow.
People really didn't understand me till a year later, probably, that it was really about helping other people. And it was helping people who had hearing and vision loss realize that they can do a lot of great things, but they have to know how they can get there, and that there are people and ways that they can be supported in their adventures. So I was lucky to get up to the top, and then that was my new mission in life, really. Because if I hadn't gotten up, it wouldn't have opened up the new chapter, because I literally walked away from a 25-year corporate career after Kilimanjaro, and now all I do is adventures and public speaking around the world. So I set the goal the door open, but probably the greatest thing that most of us don't realize is all the other opportunities that came forward to me, I never imagined after hitting the top of Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you find yourself doing things like Good Morning America and watching Faith Hill, you're like, how did I get here? Because she's good looking. But
we could edit that.
Yeah, you can.
Just kidding.
But you know, that just tells you that you can plan for what a goal will deliver to you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other things that open up. So it's a long way to answer your question, but it's an important way to answer the question, which is
sure.
You have to stay open. So what happens is that God had a plan, family got there, I got community and friends behind me, you build a system of people to support you, because you can't do it alone.
Yep.
Then you get some good processes and technology and plan to get things in place. And then what you do is you then surround yourself with the best people that have the expertise, that have done it before. So like if somebody's done Kilimanjaro, I'm going to get the best damn person that's ever climbed Kilimanjaro to get me there.
Okay. Yeah.
So you do that for what your next goal is. So for me, somebody will come up with an idea, and if I can get the word out about hearing vision loss, I'm interested in the project. So for me, I look for adventures where I can stand out, that can bring attention to that, and then that allows it to get the message out to further people. So that's why, for example, I just did the Boston Marathon. To be the first deafblind person. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's just about being the first deafblind person to do the Boston Marathon, and then from that, we can use all that media interest and attention from stories to then be able to get the message across to people that disabilities or challenges are really just simply barriers. And they are barriers that can be overcome, and whether you're disabled or not, it's possible for you to figure out a plan to get around them.
And when was the Boston Marathon? You just completed that.
Yeah, April 16th.
April 16th. So still in some recovery mode here.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you raised a lot of money for your cause as well, I saw.
Yeah, we raised over $400,000. So
Congratulations.
we had a group of 50 great people from around the country, so thanks. It was the community support and people that got behind us were
That's amazing.
incredible. But the real cool thing too was my three sons paced me through the race.
That's really
and
neat.
we crossed the finish line together, so that's pretty
Had
cool.
they ever done one before?
No.
So that was their first as well.
Yeah, they actually got out. They got up easy. They all got 10K segments.
Oh, okay.
But they all came in and finished like they all did the whole thing. So.
Boys got off easy. The old man had to do the whole thing.
Exactly. You got it. So.
Well, that's good. How did training for climbing Kilimanjaro and Boston Marathon, how are they similar? How are they different?
You know, that's a great question because I thought about it a lot. It was the thing about Kilimanjaro was you have to have first the desire, then you also have to have the physical fitness to do it. 36 miles, 5 days to go. But then the one component that no one can control is altitude sickness. So it randomly hits a person, whether they get it or not, and then that determines whether they're going to get to the top because it's 19,400 feet. So it's one of the tallest in the world. So the challenge for me on that one is that I never had time to rest. It was this constant process to get up there, then lots of adrenaline, sleepless night, just kind of excitement, and then wondering whether I was going to make it or not. And I got altitude sickness. But we got through it, we made it, and got to the top. So that one was about constantly living with it for a very long period of time in your mind, and then realizing that even if you did everything right, you could fail based on the altitude sickness that you can't control. So for example, I had a guy from Kenya with me, marathon runner, he got altitude sickness, he was gone.
Oh wow.
Again, if an experienced climber can go back a second time and have that problem the next time he goes, it's just random.
Yeah.
On the marathon, what was interesting is that it is a very compressed period of time as far as the actual event. So 4 to 5 hours of running is what it takes. But what I found amazing about the marathon experience, which is why I have so much respect for people, is that the training and the foundation work is intensive. It's a 4 or 5 month process. It's a mileage every single day. And then there are times where you're going out for 10 miles, 12 miles, 18 miles, 21 miles, and you're like, I've never done that before, I've never done that before. And so in your body, constantly trying to adjust. But then what happens in the marathon experience is that, for me, ours was the 3rd hottest marathon in history. It was over 90 degrees.
Oh wow.
So there's a phenomenon that after 4 hours, regardless of what your fitness level is, the heat index kicks in, depending on the humidity, and then your body will overheat. And heat exhaustion, it just overwhelms even an experienced athlete. So I had the similar thing as the mountain, in that it's a thing you can't control. But the difference with it was, in one sense, it was like it's going to be shorter, but it's going to be more intense. And so it's about staying on top, and you're like living on the edge whether you can make it or not make it. So the thing about the marathon is it takes your total attention. The running that you do beforehand mentally disciplines you for the day, month later. So you're in this zone for months. And then when you come out of the race, your body physically shuts down and tries to recover, but your mind is mentally spent too. And I never knew that I was so mentally engaged. It was like, what do I do now? I mean, they tell you don't run for a couple weeks, your body's got to recover 1 day for every day mile you ran. So it was a very different, but very similar. Either case, you have to commit to the fact that it's going to be sustained effort. You have to be disciplined. You have to want the goal. And then you got to build a system and people around you to enhance your odds of success. And then at a certain point, you also have to just let it go. That it's something bigger than all of us, and how bad do you want it? You go for it. So.
Well, congratulations on those successes. That's really neat.
Thanks.
How do you tie those in, Bill? You've managed a lot of successful salespeople around the country and around the world for Steelcase in your 25 years there. How do you tie in, those successes and some of the attributes you needed to be successful doing Boston, doing Kilimanjaro with top salespeople that you've managed?
It's really about, I didn't do any of those myself. I mean, I can have the desire and the goal, but I can't get there. So for Kilimanjaro, I needed some of the world's best, hiking folks, mountain folks that understood all these things to help me build a plan to get up there. Because I wanted to be the first one to do it without ropes and cowbells. I wanted to build my own independent. So I was using wireless technologies and night vision technology, which hadn't been used before. So I needed people to help me build it, and then test it and prototype it, and then build a plan to get there. And then on the Boston Marathon, there was 25,000 runners on the road, and I can't really see them.
Yeah.
And I need somebody to help me figure my way through that path. And so I had to have guides that were willing to train and be able to do it for me versus them.
Yeah.
And then I needed them to help me, navigate that safely and give me the confidence that we could get this thing done. So I think the message there is that a lot gets lost in that everybody feels that it's all about independence in life.
Yeah.
And independence is very important to what you need to do. But I could not do any of my adventures in my work without all the other people that help me. So I'm very interdependent on other people to help me get there, which gets us to this whole thing about teamwork. And teamwork is about shared vision, shared purpose, and shared goal. So, I go through this with people who are helping me with training for the Boston. One of my sons is like, he's, well, I'm doing this. And I'm like, yeah, you are, but you're only doing the 10K piece because you want to do the entire thing.
Yeah.
And he said, well, take off and this will be great. And I said, wait a minute. I need you to realize you're not running the Boston. You're running the Boston to help me get across, which will help all these other people. And so what happens is when you're building, you're working with salespeople and teams. You're on commission, you get compensation, whatever your program might be, and you're measured on individual results.
Right.
But those individual results can only get you so far. It's the team results and the combination thereof that really is where the power and the synergy comes across. And then you leapfrog in terms of progress because, it's about shared vision and shared purpose. And then when somebody's stumbling or somebody challenges, there's a new opportunity to come out that you can help the others. It all becomes reciprocal. As long as the goal is a goal that is one that compensates and rewards everybody for that team performance. So the reality is that even if you sell something, you need a lot of other people behind you to make it happen. People got to run the contract, people got to produce the product, and then, the customers have to be served long after you've done your piece of it.
Right.
So you have to realize that even though you might have hooked that sale, the delivery and execution of the sale goes on long beyond you. But if it all goes well, it all comes back to you again when that customer comes back. And it wasn't necessarily just you, but you were the first on the long line of the whole process.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Sometimes we don't look at it that way when we're in a sales type role, maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How important is it to have a balance between work and then also giving back to your community?
I would say that it's probably one of the biggest things you can do. In a lot of public speaking stuff that I talk about is that my purpose, as I told you, these projects is not about my individual athletic performance. It's about helping other people and helping them get to a better place. So in many ways, I say to myself, being deafblind and born in the United States, and the experiences I've had are so totally different than someone who might be in a third world country.
Yeah,
no access to hearing technology, no access to doctors for the blindness, and so, it's a gift and an opportunity to get what I've had. But so many people helped me get to where I am today. Everything from schooling all the way to college, to life, to business, and then my adventure work. That it's just basically all about helping other people. And I've been on a board of mental health for 9 years now. And the interesting thing about doing community work is not so much about what it does for the community, or that it is a good corporate practice, or that it's part of your culture at a different place where you work. It's about the fact that you realize as you work with different people all over the community you live in, how lucky you really are. Because you find yourself, well, I might be deafblind, but I can't imagine what it would be like for that person that got cancer or, has, severe heart problem or maybe some other disability that's very crippling. And you say, I just can't imagine. But the beauty of it is that you realize that when you're doing that work, it takes the focus off you. You start to realize how lucky you are. You start to do your own self-inventory and you say, you know what, everybody's got something. Whether it be physical, mental, what have you, or in their family, but you can work around it because everybody's got something. So you don't feel so alone, but you also realize that there's a lot that you can do. So it's a tremendous amount of reward and satisfaction that you're helping another person get to go.
Yeah, it's got to be really rewarding.
Yeah. So like the riverbank run, I did a kid, with cerebral palsy. I didn't run the race really for me. The kid had cerebral palsy, Team Triumph, they put the kids in special wheelchairs. Brilliant kid, 15 years old. He's on a roll at Forest Hills, but his body betrayed him. And so we take them through the whole process. Check them in, get their bad numbers. They're called the team captain, I'm an angel. And then what we did is basically ran the riverbank run, 15.5 miles, for him to experience a road race and see what it's like and do it. And that was probably the best race right up there right next to the Boston this year.
Wow.
I did it a month after the Boston, and I was like, he wants to go to the Boston now. So he's building a plan and getting a team pulled together to go do the Boston Marathon.
That's neat.
But it's like, that's what it's about. It's like, so many people help me do my adventures. I thought, well, they asked me if I would do it, and I'm like, absolutely. Because that's what people do for me. Help them do their adventure, plan it, get it done, and we'll see where that takes them.
Well, Bill, you've accomplished a ton of things, and we really enjoyed a lot of time with you here today. Well, what's next for you? What's next on the horizon?
I just got an email this morning. I don't know.
Is it secretive?
I've got public speaking stuff, but the next one I think is there is an effort which is called Action Magnet, which is trying to do I believe it's 18,000 miles of people in the outdoors over the course of this summer. And so they're building a 10 people to do an expedition to the top of Mount Whitney, which is from Death Valley in California all the way up to the top. And all of the people on the team, the 10 people, are visually impaired or blind.
Oh, wow.
So I would join that expedition team as the final hike when they reach the goal, which is all about getting people out there and doing work in the outdoors.
That's neat. Sounds like a great goal, and ties in with your goal setting and also helping others and helping the community as well.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you spending time with us today, Bill. And any last departing words for Team Zeigler out there?
Yeah, the biggest one is I would say I do a lot of work in No Barriers USA, and the most important thing is you listen to all these stories is realize that what within you is greater than what's in your way.
Well, thanks, Bill. Great job.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate your time.